2, 3. What's up, everyone?
Welcome back.
Today we are going to be doing a Q&A answering y'all's questions.
Questions and answers
with Dani and Nick. I love Q&A sessions because it's one of the few times we really get to sit down and actually do more than a 15-second answer on a question that someone gives us.
We asked on our Instagram stories and we got some questions. We'll also probably throw in some common questions that we get. And if you guys have any questions that you want to ask in the comments here, ask a question, and then maybe in the Vlogmas the next few days, once this goes live, then we can answer some of those questions in those videos as well.
Yeah, there's still a decent amount of days of Vlogmas, so if we have a lot of questions, we can do a Q&A part 2. This is for all you guys watching on YouTube, your chance to ask your questions.
Question number 1 coming in is how to balance working with your husband without getting on each other's nerves.
Well.
You don't. You do get on each other's nerves, and I think that is going to happen no matter what. If you're having a good relationship and a good working relationship, Holly's trying to get on the counter right now.
Holly, get down, please.
Holly May.
Pause, please.
She got down.
Well, I don't like Grace doing this chomp, chomp, chomp.
The dogs are just being a nuisance. But what I was going to say is if you're having a good business and a good relationship, then you should be getting on each other's nerves, because that means that you're having your own opinions and your own, I don't know, you know what I'm trying to say? Is if we're getting on each other's nerves or we're arguing because we both are passionate about something in different ways, and then it's all about compromise. That's how you're really going to work through it, I feel like.
It's compromise, but you also need to give each other pushback. I think if one person is just a yes man and always says yes no matter what, then you could go off in the wrong direction. So a lot of times Danielle and I give each other solid pushback, and sometimes I think that can be viewed as arguing. In a way it is arguing, but I think the arguing is with a purpose. It's giving good pushback and trying to get the best result for the company and the best result for the decision that we're trying to make at that time.
I think something that we've learned over time is that an answer isn't needed immediately. A lot of times if we do get into an argument that's lasting a long time, if we just take a minute to cool off and think about things, and it doesn't have to be a minute, it can literally be days, to revisit the conversation after you think about what the other person has said and what you think is best. That definitely helps us. And then also just listening to the other person. A lot of times when you're passionate about something, you're trying to get them to believe what you believe. Sometimes you just have to sit back and listen, think about all the things, and then come to a compromise. Or maybe it's not a compromise, maybe it's one person's or the other person's, and sometimes that's gonna happen too.
I think the biggest strengths that you and I have is knowing when enough is enough. And that's kind of you don't get mean or say really rude things to somebody. I think you have to kind of know the boundaries. You still have to treat the other person with respect, dignity, all of that stuff. That doesn't mean that you can't disagree with them and be passionate about that disagreement and voice it in a respectful way.
I can definitely see why working with your significant other or a best friend or a mom or someone who's really important to you would not be a good idea for some people. And so it might not be for you, but it could be for you. We probably didn't always think, from the beginning, we weren't yeah, we're going to work together. So I just think that it works for some people and it doesn't for others. And you can either know that before getting into it, or you could start and say, hey, maybe this isn't the best for us, so we need to do different things. Or if you need to do different things but in the same company, figure out who's good at what or who likes doing something and kind of split up the tasks. I feel it took us a while to get in a group, but now we're very much of these are most of Nick's jobs, these are most of Dani's jobs, and sometimes we collaborate, especially when it's growing the business or a big business decision. Obviously we have to be in agreement on that.
I think it's what you just said with that is exactly what I was thinking, and that's you have your area of expertise, I have my area of expertise, and then we have this common ground. And I think most of the time we're willing to defer to the other person's area of expertise or where they might be stronger or have more knowledge in, and most of the time that works out pretty well.
Yeah. Okay, the next question. I feel we went on that one for a while. Do you think we answered that good?
I think we did, but I think it's important because that's a lot of our time and being in business with your spouse. But this is, or anyone else that is important to you, best friend, parent, any of that type of stuff. I think all of this applies, and you have to be very, very careful. If you don't approach this correctly, you can ruin a relationship, and your business is not worth ruining a relationship. So I think just know these things going into it and lean into it, but don't follow kind of like the guidelines that we said. And every situation is going to be different, though.
So the next question is sewing tips and tricks. So my answer to this is to set out time and materials to mess up.
Practice,
because I know for myself, even still, it's very hard because I don't like wasting things. I don't like wasting material. I don't like wasting money, and I don't like wasting my time. So for me to sit down and do that, it's very hard, but especially in the beginning, you need to, or you end up going to be more frustrated and more upset, because if you just go straight to sewing an order of something and then you mess that up, I think that's going to make you more upset. So if you just set out time to practice, learn the machine, mess up, like practice on like things that are cheap or like scraps, whatever, and watch a ton of YouTube videos. Not our videos, because we don't really show sewing, you know, like we show
from
business
a tutorial standpoint.
Yeah, you need to like Google or YouTube, Google search like how to blank of whatever you're trying to learn. Even for us, like when we started, it was how to spin a bobbin. I literally had no idea. I watched a video, I did it, I messed up, I did it again, and then I figured it out.
Did it again.
Yeah. And so there's videos for everything. Watch tutorials. You can even sign up for classes. I'm sure you have a Joann's or a sewing store in some kind of proximity to you where they'll have classes.
Or might even be able to just give you like a little tip that you needed. Go ask. A lot of them are very helpful and are willing to give you like a quick tip.
So practice is the number one thing for sewing.
For the thing that Danielle said about having to practice like fabric and materials, one of our favorite things that we have at Tails Up Pup is what? I'm like playing the piano.
Yeah, I'm worried that it's going to be bouncing.
Is that we have this like roll of fabric that is like our practice fabric, and like whenever we have any project we want to try, we use that fabric for it. It's very helpful.
And don't jump to 10,000 levels. Like start at the basics and then build your way up. If you're like, okay, I want to do applique embroidery, and you don't even know how to do, I mean, that just totally went the opposite direction to embroidery, but like, I don't know, trying to think of something really complicated. Like you need to know the basics.
Master the basics before you move up. Yeah.
So don't try to do something complicated before you learn the bottom, or it will be even harder for you to learn, I think. The next question is, someone said, will the Janet Sherpa be restocked? It is restocked. Up for pre-order now. She sold out super fast. But that's not really behind the scenes Q&A. How do you go about picking fabric for bandanas? So I would say that this is one of the most time-consuming things, because there are so many fabrics in the whole world.
Thousands and thousands and thousands.
So many fabrics. Let alone something that we're gonna like, something we think our customers will like, something that fits our collection, now something that matches our clothing. So it definitely takes a ton of time to narrow down through the ones. I typically will make like a wish list or heart things of like, these are things I like, and then we'll go back through. Most of the time I feel like now we do sit down and we'll like go through and say, okay, well, this is what we're thinking, this is what we should get.
But start from the beginning though. At first, we would look at so many different places. I mean, like Joann's, literally everywhere. So many different places that you can buy fabric. Yeah, exactly. So you first have to get the experience of places that like have patterns that you like better, or like have a website that you really like to use that you can like things on and build up. And materials.
And shipping and quality.
Yeah, testing it out. So you have to build up that experience in the beginning, and once you have that, then you start to come back to maybe your top 5 or 10 places that you want to look first before you make your fabric decisions.
Yeah.
And so I think that's something that when you're starting out, you just have to learn all of that by experience. You can watch people's videos and say, oh, they buy their fabric from this place, or, whatever. But you kind of have to figure that out first. The places you want to look, I think that helps narrow it down, because if you're just like every time trying to buy from a different place, you're going to get very overwhelmed all the time.
But we did do that to figure out what we liked. Now we know the places, and I would say we typically will we know some things, what our customers will like and what we like. And then if it's ever iffy, we just don't buy a ton of it to begin with to see if people like it. And then we'll restock it if we can and if people buy it.
Mm-hmm.
So buying smaller quantities in the beginning can help you when picking fabric if you are trying to sell things, try new things, whatever it may be. Megan's asking, what's your favorite product or favorite thing that you've ever sold?
Well, I think we still need to talk about the rest of the fabric picking.
What?
Well, first,
Sometimes we have to move on.
Well, I think Danielle's process is like she tries to find something that is gonna fit in this category, this category, this category, and this category. Because it's very easy. Like if it was me picking, I'd pick like all my favorite stuff and it'd only be right here and everything else would be let go. Danielle's gotten a lot better at picking the stuff that she really likes, but expanding into other areas that are similar, but like might fit this vibe or might be matching with these clothing sets. So I think you've gotten a lot better at that.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only thing I had to say about that.
Now we have permission to move on?
Yes.
We got, what's your favorite product or favorite thing you've ever sold?
Ever?
Mm-hmm.
I know my answer.
Do you?
Yeah. 1, 2, 3.
My
Wedding
Humans
bandana.
Are Getting Married.
Yeah. Which is our wedding bandana.
Yeah, the My Humans Are Getting Married bandana brings us the most special photos, the most special memories. It's so cool to be a part of people's weddings and their one special day of their lives.
Yeah.
And it is just really, really cool.
That's like one of our favorite parts of like what we do, like what Tails Up Pup is.
Someone in a wedding dress with their dog and our bandana is just
That's why
top of the
we do
top.
what we do.
The pregnancy announcements also bring the coolest memories and the coolest photos, so that...
I love the graduation ones.
Yeah.
A lot of these special moments, those are probably our favorite products. But I also, other times that I really like, I love our Christmas stuff.
Yeah, so that was the other question. Favorite holiday for bandanas?
I would say probably Christmas, Valentine's Day, and fall, maybe.
That would be my order. Christmas, Valentine's, fall. So many cute photo ops, so many cute pairings, all the cute
Just
patterns.
like, again, and that is because like those are times with those photos, these are like special bonds that you're making like with your dog, with your family, and like we're seeing those photos, and I don't know, overall, that is probably my favorite part of what we do.
We built this business for photos. Like, we want you guys to have these photos that will last forever, that you'll look back on and remember how cute and how much fun and all that. And so that's what our bandanas were created for, which is why we also included the clothing line, which is another question we can add in here. A lot of people are like, what made you want to start the clothing? How did you do it? All of that stuff, which could be honestly a whole other video. But this business was created for photos and memories, and the clothing goes right in line with that because, well, how did we get into the clothing? I'm wearing clothing, all the pictures with Gracie, and people were always asking where those items were coming from. And so we were like, okay, I think we kind of can dabble in that because we are, like, I was in so many photos, and so are you guys who are also buying our products for photos. And so we were like, if we could have coordinating outfits for these photos, for these memories, it would just be so awesome. And so we really just thought, I came to Nick one day, I said, should we do this? He was kind of like, yeah, maybe.
Well,
and honestly, that was the scariest moment because I'm like, he is going to think I'm mentally insane for asking this.
But actually, no, because, okay, when we started, how did Tails Up Pup start, like, as a company and make dog bandanas? Danielle wanted bandanas for our dogs. She decided to make our own, and, like, that is how the, bandana part of the business evolved. The clothing part was the same thing. What were we doing? What Danielle just said, we make the bandanas, like, for photos, to like create these special memories. Well, Danielle was having a problem, like, what am I gonna wear in these photos, like with the bandanas that we have? So she was always having to try to pick out outfits that would coordinate all this type of stuff. Again, a problem that she had with like fitting into our business model. And then over time, like you already mentioned, people were asking about the clothing, and it was like a light bulb kind of went off, just like with the bandanas. Maybe we should look into selling and curating clothing that matches and coordinates really well with our bandanas because we're primarily trying to get good photos.
And I think this also leads into another question that a lot of people on YouTube actually ask of, do we regret selling clothing items as Tails Up Pup? And overwhelmingly the answer is
absolutely no way.
Because it has in ways completely changed our business, our brand, who we are, how we portray ourselves, and what you guys buy from us. And it has been a huge success. Our customers have absolutely loved it, especially now that it's totally been like the ball was rolling. Now it's really rolling. Now people really understand that we have cute
And we're
clothes.
figuring it out as we go.
Yes.
Getting better at it.
So overwhelmingly, yes, this has been great for us, and our customers have loved it, and it just really makes our brand become finished. Like, it feels like we are a whole package deal now. We love it. It makes the photos so perfect. We absolutely love making the combinations and seeing people buy the combinations that we put together, and then also seeing the combinations that the customers come up with.
Yeah, on their own.
Very, very cool things. So
it's really funny too, because like you think we would have been able to figure this out like in the beginning, because we never really created Tails Up Pup to like just give bandanas to dogs, right? It was, again, like our favorite part has always been from the beginning, those special memories, those special bonds that is like most seen in the weddings, graduations, pregnancies, but we also are seeing that in photos, and it just makes sense like to put those two things together. What the dog's wearing, what the human's wearing. It's always been about that bond. We just didn't know how to like bring those two things together, but I think we figured it out.
Another question is, do we sell more bandanas or clothing items? We sell more bandanas. We are still dog bandana majority business, but we do sell a ton of clothing items. You know that Ensley is our employee who does the whole clothing thing. This is her full-time job. We do sell a lot of clothes, and it honestly is shocking. It is so cool. We have high quality, affordable clothing items, and they're all so cute. So I'm glad that we were able to grow that part of our business. And I said, like, it changed our business in tons of different ways, but on the financial side, I always say, like, you don't have to have a ton of money to start a business. It obviously depends on what business you're starting. But in the clothing world, clothing is expensive for us to buy the inventory. We have to buy multiple sizes and multiple patterns and all the different choices. So the spending has gone up because we are buying a lot more inventory that is more expensive than just fabric for the dog bandanas. So in that aspect, it has been crazy. Like, if you're watching this and you sell dog bandanas and you're like, should I do it? It's like, you need to map out your whole business plan and what is best for you guys. And I will say, do what's best for you and what your brand is, what you are doing, because I do see people who try to copy other people, not just in this, but in all aspects, and that doesn't work well. Nick and I were actually just talking about, to be successful, you have to figure out who you are and what you believe in and what your values are in order to have a successful and growing business.
You have to carve out your own path. You can never...
If you fake what you are trying to preach, you won't be able to do it forever. You're going to get tired of faking it and putting on a show, and you just need to be who you are, and that needs to be the basis of your brand and your brand values.
And the best thing about being who you are, no one can be better at being you than you. Like, if you're trying to be somebody else, you will never be better than them, because they are them. But if you like lean into what you like to do, what makes you you, you're going to be the best person at that, because you are you.
Way to go. That was your pep talk of the day from Nick.
Yeah.
Do you have any other questions?
Was that all of the ones?
That was all of the ones. But I feel like we were talking for a long time.
We riffed for a while. This video is probably getting longer. No, I would just say, if you have any other questions, leave them in the comments below. Again, this is one of our favorite things to do. If you are like motivated to go start something, I would just say this could be your sign to go ahead and do that. Sometimes all you need is a little bit of a, coaxing to say, go ahead and just start.
And the biggest thing is, where do I start? Because Nick's like, start. Well, where do I? Write down your ideas, how you're going to get there, some goals, what's going to get you there, and research, watch YouTube videos, do Google search, whatever it may be, to figure out how you can get to where you want to be.
But the number one thing is, after doing that, do not be afraid just to take that one step. You don't have to have the whole thing figured out. We didn't have the whole thing figured out. It's one step at a time. Business really is just about solving one problem after another. Sometimes the problems are big, sometimes they're small, but you just keep solving them and you will make progress. Do not freak yourself out. Just take that first step.
Thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, comment
Yes.
any other questions down below, and we'll see you tomorrow.
Bye.
Bye.